So how does a nice, charming guy like you get in touch with his inner goblin?
Oh, it's there all the time, just waiting, begging to be released.
Sometimes what can turn a great villain into an iconic one is simply the actor. The right actor with the right role can make something so amazing and so unique that it can be a cultural icon even decades after the fact. And that is what Willem Dafoe accomplished with the Green Goblin.
In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
No one says no to me!
Misery, misery, misery. That's what you've chosen. I offered you friendship, and you spat in my face.
Willem Dafoe's performance as the Green Goblin in Spider-Man will always be one of the most distinctive and enduring portrayals of a comic book villain in all of cinema. At a time when superhero films had not yet fully matured into the dominant cultural force they would later become, Dafoe delivered a performance that was daring, theatrical, and psychologically rich. His portrayal of Norman Osborn is not simply that of a villain opposing a hero, but of a man unraveling under the weight of ambition, insecurity, and internal conflict. Dafoe elevated the Green Goblin into perhaps the greatest iconic villain in the early 2000s, and also into a character that is both terrifying and tragically human.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how! The heart, Osborn!
From the start, Dafoe establishes Norman Osborn as a man defined by pressure.
But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
As the head of Oscorp, Norman is caught between his scientific ambitions and the expectations of corporate investors who view him as expendable. Dafoe plays these early scenes as Norman with restraint, emphasizing control and calculation. His posture is upright, his voice measured, and his interactions often carry an undercurrent of tension. Yet within this composed exterior, there are subtle indications of instability, fleeting expressions of frustration, moments of hesitation, and a sense that Norman is constantly on the verge of losing control. These nuances will later lay the foundation for the character's eventual transformation, ensuring that his descent into madness feels organic rather than abrupt. His transformation begins with Norman's exposure to the experimental serum, a moment that catalyzes the emergence of the Green Goblin persona. Here, Dafoe shifts gears dramatically, embracing a more exaggerated and theatrical style of acting.
I think of my role in this movie as Norman Osborn first, and the Green Goblin grows out of an aspect of Norman Osborn.
We need to take the whole line back to formula.
Back to formula.
Back to formula.
Spider-Man is all but invincible. But Parker, we can destroy him.
I can't.
Kill those people on that balcony.
The goblin killed. I had nothing to do with it.
Don't let him take me again.
However, this shift is not random or inconsistent. It reflects the fragmentation of Norman's psyche. The Green Goblin is not merely a disguise or alter ego, but a manifestation of Norman's suppressed desires and darker impulses. Dafoe communicates this through a complete transformation of voice and body. His speech becomes more animated, often punctuated by sudden bursts of laughter or sharp, taunting inflections. His movements grow less controlled, more erratic, giving the impression of a mind unbound by moral or social constraints. Even when concealed behind the Green Goblin's armored suit and mask, his performance retains its power. The mask, while visually striking, limits facial expression, forcing him to rely heavily on vocal delivery and physicality. He rises to this challenge with remarkable skill. His voice becomes the primary vehicle for emotion, shifting seamlessly between playful cruelty and cold menace.
I loved in Spider-Man, particularly playing the double role. Everybody thinks about the Green Goblin, and that was fun. But the more interesting role was probably the father, because Norman Osborn, because you could play these scenes where it would switch from comedy to drama in a line.
He's been murdered, sir.
What are you talking about?
And the flight suit and the glider?
What about it?
It's been stolen, sir.
What do you want?
To say what you won't to do what you can't.
A word to the not-so-wise about your little girlfriend. Do what you need to with her, then broom her fast.
Every single line that Green Goblin says is delivered with intention, which enhances the character's presence. Meanwhile, his body language, sharp turns of the head, deliberate pauses, and sudden explosive movements adds another layer of expression. These elements combine to create a character who feels alive and unpredictable, even when his face is hidden. The Green Goblin is not a silent or brooding villain. He revels in chaos and takes pleasure in psychological manipulation. Dafoe leans into this aspect, which makes the character both entertaining and unsettling. His laughter, in particular, becomes a defining trait, high-pitched, erratic, and often appearing at moments of violence or tension. His performance ensures that the humor never undermines the stakes. Instead, it deepens the character, making his actions feel more disturbing because they are carried out with apparent delight. And this helps create the different layers that is needed for this role to be split from Norman.
Oh my god!
The relationship between Norman Osborn and Peter Parker adds another layer of complexity to Dafoe's performance. Norman initially serves as a mentor figure to Peter, offering guidance and support in a way that contrasts with Peter's more distant relationship with other authority figures. Dafoe portrays these interactions with warmth and sincerity, creating a believable bond between the two characters. This makes the eventual conflict between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin more emotionally resonant. When Norman begins to suspect Peter's identity, Dafoe subtly shifts his performance, introducing an undercurrent of suspicion and tension. The famous Thanksgiving dinner scene exemplifies this, as he conveys a growing realization through small, controlled gestures and changes in tone, building suspense without overt exposition.
I think of the scene where they have like a Thanksgiving dinner.
Norman, will you do the honors? My goodness. Oh, that looks awful.
It's nothing.
There's a couple of scenes that still make me laugh because they're so double-edged and they go back and forth between being really heavy and really kind of silly.
Dafoe never allows the audience to forget Norman's humanity. Even as the Green Goblin commits increasingly destructive acts, there are moments where the original personality resurfaces, if only briefly. These glimpses of vulnerability add a tragic dimension to the character. In the movie's ending, as Norman faces defeat, he reintroduces a sense of fear and confusion, reminding the audience that the villain is not entirely in control of his actions. This duality between monster and man gives the character emotional weight and prevents him from becoming a one-dimensional antagonist. And this is shown in perhaps one of the greatest scenes in the movie, the mirror scene. In an act of extraordinary range, Dafoe acts opposite himself, in which he constructs a vivid dialogue between Norman and the Goblin, capturing the essence of a man at war with his own identity. The speed and clarity with which he transitions between the two personas are remarkable.
The mirror scene's cool. Sam Raimi gave me Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde to read before I did that.
Where are you? I'm right here.
I don't understand.
I had to dance with the camera a lot on that scene.
The board members. You killed them.
We killed them.
We?
In this scene, Norman appears fearful, confused, and desperate, while the Goblin is confident, mocking, and domineering. This scene is not only technically impressive, but also thematically significant, as it externalizes the internal struggle that defines the character. It reflects broader themes of duality and identity that are central to the movie, particularly in relation to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, who is himself navigating a dual existence as both a regular young man and a superhero. Dafoe's performance didn't just redefine what a comic book villain could be, it also set a standard for what it should be. Prior to Spider-Man, many villains in the genre were portrayed in relatively simplistic terms, often lacking depth or psychological nuance. Dafoe demonstrated that it was possible to embrace the heightened, fantastical elements of the source material while still delivering a performance grounded in humanity.
And Norman Osborn is an interesting character because he's got a dark side and a light, positive side. He believes in science. He's interested in developing the physical and mental capabilities of a human being through science. And there's a dark side to that and a light side. And the Green Goblin is the manifestation of that dark side.
Give me your hand. Believe in me, as I believed in you. Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Don't tell Harry.
More than just a memorable villain, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin represents a turning point in superhero cinema, demonstrating the profound impact that a committed and imaginative actor can have on a genre often defined by spectacle.
It was early in the game of, movies from comic books and that sort of thing. So there was no template.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.